Hello everyone, welcome back to Pacific Front channel. Last week, the Canadian government down-selected TKMS and a joint venture between Hanwha Ocean and HHI as the finalists for the Canadian Patrol Submarine Project. As part of the next steps, Canada will conduct in-depth engagement with the two qualified suppliers to continue to advance the procurement process. They hope the winner can be announced by the end of this year, with the first class arriving in 2035 and operational by 2037. I made a video discussing Canada's submarine replacement before, but with the recent news, I think it's a good idea if we look in more detail at what TKMS and Hanwha are offering, not only the submarine itself, but also other aspects around it. German shipbuilder TKMS offers the Type 212CD made for Norway and Germany. The submarine is based on the Type 212A but will be nearly twice the size and is designed for operations in all oceans. The hull will be diamond-shaped to deflect emissions and improve stealth, and will use a new generation hydrogen fuel cell AIP system with 2 diesel engines. This will allow the boat to stay submerged longer, even in the Arctic. The Type 212CD will feature 4 torpedo tubes for DM2A4 heavyweight torpedoes, with plans to incorporate the IDAS air defense missile also on the line. As of right now, we still don't know many things regarding the submarine, including its sonar suit. But we do know that it will be installed with a new combat system called Orca from KTA Naval Systems and 2 photonic masts and sensors from Hensoldt instead of a traditional periscope. As we discussed previously, the TKMS offer comes with a geopolitical hook. Canada recently signed a trilateral letter of intent to establish a strategic partnership with Germany and Norway, 2 NATO allies that started the Type 212CD program. This agreement aims to strengthen maritime security cooperation in the North Atlantic in support of NATO's deterrence and defense. Canada is also in negotiations to join the European Union's Rearmed Defense Plan, which would make Canada be considered as an EU member state and eligible for joint procurement with Europe. TKMS CEO also said that if Canada joins the current program, it's possible the first Canadian boat could arrive within its requested time frame, although it depends on the Canadian government and how swiftly it moves. Slipping into the production line at this point would likely involve redesigning one of the submarines already earmarked for either Germany or Norway. TKMS pitch also involved a plan to construct a submarine maintenance facility in Canada. Furthermore, the Canadian Prime Minister's recent visit to Germany also revealed agreements made between the two nations that could affect the result of the submarine replacement program. Canada is trying to position itself as a key partner for critical and rare earth minerals, and many Canadian and German companies have begun cooperation in mining, energy, magnet, lithium, the aviation industry, and more. Meanwhile, 2 Korean shipbuilding giants, Hanwha Ocean and HHI, are offering the kss-iii submarine. The kss-iii initiative consists of the development of 9 submarines capable of firing submarine-launched ballistic missiles to be built in 3 batches. The first batch, currently in commission, is using a PEM fuel cell similar to the Type 212CD. Meanwhile, the second batch is currently in production will use lithium-ion instead, which reportedly allows the kss-iii to have greater speed and underwater endurance. I couldn't find any reports stating specifically which batch was offered, but it's almost certain that either the current batch 2 or possibly the next batch. The kss-iii batch 2 features 6 torpedo tubes for Tiger Shark heavyweight torpedoes and 10 KVLS cells for Hyunmo 44 ballistic missile, as well as the Chonryong land attack cruise missile. It's equipped with Naval Shield integrated CMS from Hanwha, a sonar suit from League Next One, radar electronic support measures by Indra, and an optonic mast by Safran. The kss-iii offers have full backing from the South Korean government, which is eager to expand the defense and security partnership with Canada. In May, Hanwha and HHI submitted a detailed, unsolicited proposal worth $20 to $24 billion with the promise to deliver the first 4 submarines by 2035. Similarly, they also pitched building maintenance facilities in Canada. Not only that, Hanwha Aerospace, the sister company to the shipyard, has separately put down 2 detailed proposals to re-equip the Canadian Army with the K9 Thunder HPH and Chunmo MLRS. It also proposes a bigger package of armored vehicles to fill the gaps in the Army. These offers are worth more than $1 billion depending on what the government chooses and come with rapid delivery time and the possibility of setting up maintenance and manufacturing centers. Canada's Prime Minister will visit South Korea this October to visit Korean shipyards. Comparing both submarines' capabilities, the kss-iii is definitely more armed and has more attacking power with its 6 torpedo tubes and 10 VLS. This will enhance the Navy's capability in submarine operations both strategically and tactically and give more options on how to employ its submarine fleet. This, I think, is the biggest selling point the kss-iii has in this competition. However, neither Canadian government nor the Navy has said publicly that they want VLS on their submarines or are looking for one. Even so, it doesn't mean they are not considering the options they currently have on hand. The second selling point is the rapid construction and delivery timeline for the project. The Canadian requirement stated that it wants its first submarine replacement to be delivered by 2035 to avoid a capability gap in the Navy. Many shipbuilders, including TKMS, probably can only deliver one by that time due to a full production backlog and limited construction space. But Korea has 2 shipbuilders that are currently building the kss-iii, and with their advanced manufacturing technique, 4 submarines are possible. Moreover, the Canadian Army is facing some challenges both overseas and domestically. It has struggled to field equipment to its force in Latvia and lacks mobile artillery and rocket artillery, which have been features of the war in Ukraine. With the addition of the Hanwha Aerospace offer, they can fill some important gaps quickly. One example is Poland. Since 2022, Poland has signed between $16 and $22 billion worth of defense contract with South Korea for tanks, artillery, rocket launchers, and fighter jets. And in just several years, the Polish armed forces have now been rebuilt in large part with South Korean support. However, the kss-iii Arctic operations has not been tested yet. There are some technical differences in submarine operations in the Arctic and somewhere else, so a submarine built for Korean waters might not work as effectively as those built for the Arctic. Let's take a look at the Portuguese submarine. Portugal sits on the same latitude as Korea, and last year, the Portuguese Navy conducted a submarine mission in the Arctic. After the mission, one of the reports said that water temperature and salinity density plus the ice presence complicate sonar optimization, meaning the operation of the submarine itself is not 100% effective. Therefore, Canada needs a submarine that is optimized for Arctic operations, and the Type 212CD built for Norwegian water is more suited for Canada's environment. Type 212CD is smaller in dimension than the kss-iii, and with the help of automation, it only requires a crew half the size of the Korean one. As I mentioned in the previous video, Canada faces recruitment and retention challenges, and the Navy has consistently failed to meet its requirement targets for over a decade. Manning a 30 crew size submarine will be easier and more sustainable for the Navy than manning a 50 crew size one. Multiple by 12 boats, and you can see the difference. Lastly, even though Germany cannot match the Korean production rate, interoperability with NATO is probably more crucial. Russia is the biggest challenge for Canada right now and in the future. And I think Canada will pay more attention to the Arctic and the Atlantic rather than the Pacific. So, having common systems and greater interoperability with allies from this part of the world is just strategically better for Canada. Of course, these are only a fraction of the offer, and the pros and cons we know of each candidate based on open source materials. There is a lot more confidential information and deals that we probably will never know that are currently being considered by the Navy and the Canadian government. I guess we only have to wait until the winner is decided at the end of the year. Who do you think gonna win the Canadian Patrol Submarine Project? And which one do you bet on? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching everyone. I'll see you in the next one.